Hey everyone, welcome to the Sweet Source Canada YouTube channel. My name is Tristan, and today we're working on the 9000, and we've got some door panels to take off today, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And yeah, we're taking all of them off because we're going to install finally these door cards that have been sitting in my basement for like the last year and a half. So that's going to be our project for today. I'm going to be doing only the left side. The right side's pretty much identical apart from, I believe, the mirror switch here. But yeah, should be pretty straightforward. Let's get right into it. So before we start, it's always important whenever you're working on the car, either disconnect your battery. I like to leave it open in case I need to move the windows around, move the seats around or whatever. But also make sure to turn off the interior lights. So I'm going to do that right now, where it's at 0. Yeah, here we go, 0. So 0 is going to be off, so that's good to go. So that's just not to drain your battery. Alright, so let's get started. So one thing you'll notice about removing these door panels is there's quite a bit of bits and pieces, little piece of hardware that you just got to keep track of. Make sure you're putting them on the same door. I like to usually separate it in baggies, or driver's door, passenger door, whatever. This light will also always stay on even if you turn off the light switch in the car, so that's something to note. So let's begin. So first you're going to remove these two little caps here, and there's one on this side right over here which hides a torque screw, and there's one on this side as well. So let's go ahead and remove these first. Those are out. They're actually held pretty firmly. I believe these are T25s, if I'm not mistaken, from memory. My memory serves me right. So just go ahead and undo those. Now these are kind of like shank screws, so they're very long, but they've only got threads at the end of them. So let's go ahead and remove those, just like this. Once those are out, you can see it's already starting to loosen. You want to take out this right over here, the light as well. That's also got to be done. So let's do that. I don't know if I'm catching it well. That's like a T10, I believe. And whenever you're recording, it's always important that someone mows their lawn. That's one thing that's very important. I believe it's a T15 or a T10. Let me see. Yeah, it's a T15. T10, sorry. So just take the T10. This probably just put in my hand. I don't think I tightened it much. Yeah. So these lights like to crack as well. I have a used set of good lights, but these are original to the car, supposedly. So I'm going to keep them. I'm probably going to maybe put a bit of silicone to hold them in properly. So once that screw is out, I can go over here. This light just kind of slides out. And just be a bit careful. And careful with the bulb too, it might be hot. So just be aware of that. And just undo the electrical connection as well. And then there's another one up here. Just undo that carefully. Just wiggle it out, and there you go. Lights out. Let me grab my really thin screwdriver. You want to carefully go in there and pop these out without damaging the rubber, the soft plastic. One of the caps out, and then the second cap's out. These are very easy to remove. And you can see there's two different ones. The top one is a bit longer, more angled, and the bottom one is shorter and straight. So now those are out, there are screws very far in there, so it's good to take a long extension. And these are also T25s, I believe, so let's go ahead with a T25 right away and just make sure it is certainly a T25, and it is. So once that's in there, start loosening these bolts. These bolts might be in a bit tighter. That all should come out pretty easy. Once that's out, you could pull out the handle. Be careful it doesn't just pull straight out. There is an angled clip in there that you kind of orient it with. So I'll show you guys that. You kind of want to wiggle it out of here carefully. There you go. And you can see these are the screws. They are identical. That hold in the, maybe you didn't catch it well, that hold in the door handle, which is now out of the car. Alright, so this is the least fun part of the job. Last time I did this, I actually broke the mirror switch by mistake. So the way you want to do it is you actually want to remove this knob, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just start with that. Removing this knob. There we go. It's a little knob that just controls which mirror you want to activate, as you can see. You know, left and right, and then neutral. You can move this one as well, I believe. Yep, this one just comes out. That's for the actual direction of the mirror. And then here, I believe there's a little clip you got to access with a screwdriver, and it kind of pops out the whole thing. You got to depress this clip. I don't know which way. I think it's this way. Then this whole thing just kind of comes out. There we go. So this is actually a part that is broken a lot, and you can see I even got it from my own store with my own handwriting. I got it from my own stock. And then the actual connector itself is here. And you just want to pry this slowly and then just pop out the actual connector. There's also a T20 screw in there as well we're going to access. So let me grab this with my super long extension for some reason. And this, most of these screws are not going to be on tight, so they should come out really easy. Should come out. And you can see, just wiggle it past the door handle, and there we go. The door handle trim is out successfully without any breaks. So let's grab our T25 driver. Same screw, I believe, as the door handle, so that's nice. There we go. And that should be the end of it. Oh, and I just noticed I have one more screw hiding right here. Ta-da, I knew I was missing something. So let's go ahead and take that one out. I believe it's a T25 as well. Yeah, let's get our little ratchet on there. And that comes with its own little kind of washer, so make sure that stays with the screw as well. I don't believe this washer is original. This door panel's been out a few times, I believe, before I bought this car. So yeah, I don't know if that's original. It doesn't certainly look original. But yeah, that's another screw that's the same as the door handle. So yeah, that should now come out. Just like that, our door panel's out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this for the passenger side, and I'm gonna also record the rear left door. But the passenger side doors I'll do off camera. All right, onto the rear. It's very straightforward, just like the front. I believe it's actually a little easier. And of course, customary to any video, you have to have a plane fly over you as well to just obstruct the sound a little more. So let's go ahead and start with these little caps again, which hide the same kind of screws underneath. So I'm gonna actually grab a slightly thinner screwdriver for these ones. For some reason, I'm still using this super long extension, but go ahead and remove this as well. The rear lights are different than the front door lights. They're held in with this screw like this. And once that's out, the whole light kind of slides out in the same way the front does. Carefully remove the connectors again. That's out just like that. Let's pull out these caps. 1 and 2. And as you can see, just like the front, these are also different top and bottom. One. These aren't in as deep, but still good to have a good extension to give you lots of space. Top part comes out easy, then you just gotta wiggle out the bottom part, angle it for it to slide out, just like that. I almost forgot this little guy again, so let me get him. Carefully, because I am at an angle, as you can see, so I don't want to strip this. Alright, so let's get this door handle assembly out. First things first, pop this little trim out. This is kind of in there loose, so I have to figure out a way to clip it in properly, or maybe put a little bit of, dab a little silicone to hold that in properly once this whole thing is done. So this is the window switch, of course. So we're going to start by trying to wiggle this out. Oh, and it just unplugged instead. So the connector can just stay in there. So we got one screw here, it's a T20 as well. Let's go ahead and take the rest out. Once again, keep this hardware all together. Can't stress it enough. And it should just come out now. As far as I remember, it should just come right out like that. The rest of it's clipped in with clips that kind of clip upwards into these holes, so you just kind of slide it out downwards. Let's go ahead and do this. And of course, once again, I did forget a screw right here, once again. So let me go ahead and get that one out. This is also a T25. Classic. Always forget a little screw. That's why it's good to, if you don't know if something's going to come out or not, try to wiggle it. If it feels loose, then it's probably ready to come out. If it doesn't, probably have a missing screw somewhere. That little guy is out. Window scraper is going to be pretty tight up against the rail here of the door. So just give it some convincing, and it should come out. There we go. And just like that, it's out. The lock rod decided to come along for the ride, but I wanted to stay in the car. So let's go ahead and pull a lock rod out. and that can go back in its hidey hole right here. Connector right here. There you go, finally. So yeah, these cars do have a little vent here that blows warm air. I believe it's for defrosting as well, but there's a vent going up here, so yeah, to defrost the rear windows. And then there's also the motor itself right here. I believe one of these on my car is making noise, so at one point this door panel will probably have to come out again to get one of these replaced. But anyways, for the time being, we're just putting our door cards on. So simply, that's how you remove the front and rear door panels on these cars. Both sides are pretty much identical, apart from the aforementioned mirror switch. It's just a, what's it called? There's no actual mirror switch on the other side, so it's just a matter of just popping out the plastic and taking out the screws as you would anyways. And with the magic of editing, all 4 panels are now out. Let's get to sticking on those door cards. Alright everyone, welcome to the Sweet Source Canada makeshift workshop in the basement here. So these are all my door panel inserts. As you can see, they're nicely covered in the same material as the A-pillar trims, and I was gonna fasten them with the proper clips that go here, but they're no longer available from SAAB, and I've tried multiple other different clips and I can't find just the right size. A 7mm inner diameter seems to be just a touch too small, and an 8mm inner diameter slightly too large. So I chose to go with RTV, and I've asked a few people on the forums what they use, and honestly some people use JV Weld. I'm not a fan of that. It's more of a permanent attachment. I just need something that could be removed in the future, and clear silicone is going to look aesthetically pleasing to whoever removes the door panel and sees it. And if ever these do peel again in the near future, or next 5-10 years, who knows, or someone wants to change a color, find a different fabric you like, then, you know, obviously with silicone, these will be much easier to remove with just a razor blade or an X-Acto knife or something. So let's get started with installing these onto the panels. Alright, so this is our driver's side front, and here's the nice new panel that's going to go in. So there are holes inside the actual door panel itself all over here, where these little pegs here line up and actually install into the door. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's flip this guy over. Actually, first thing I think would be best is to actually lay this into its position. So I like to go top down to line up the bottom pegs first, which are lined up, and then we can install the top ones here. Now this panel's a little bit warped, it seems, which is not ideal, but we'll make it work. We'll try to get these pins in as best as possible. That's in, that's in. So as you can see, that looks pretty damn good. So now that this is in, I was thinking about taping it, but I might just leave it in like this and install the silicone so that it stays in. So let's see how that works. So let's flip this over. You can see all the pins are there. So that's good. And you can see they're hiding around this insulation as well. So let's go ahead and install this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take silicone right here. It's a brand new one too. Don't mess around over here. There you go. And we're going to go ahead and just apply it, I guess, to these pins so they stay in. So before I do that, let me close this and make sure they truly are in their position. I also wash my hands really well, and I do have some alcohol solution if I need to get some silicone off myself. And with friction, this is actually staying in pretty well. So let's go ahead and start applying some silicone. I'm just going to apply it directly there. Then maybe use this that came with it to kind of spread that properly. And that should hold this in place, honestly. You don't need a whole lot, you just need to get it in the crevice. And once you have everything bolted in, it's not going to come out. So yeah, let's keep doing that. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to grab another door panel, and I'm going to keep it going. Alright, next panel. This is the front right door. So yeah, there is the broken pin I was talking about before, that one of these has one. So in this case right here, I'm just going to put some silicone in. Try to get it stuck as nice as I can. So let's hold it in place. There's the silicone. I am using a little bit on the heavy side of silicone, but I'm trying to make sure it's a really good bond, and this will have to also be water resistant to an extent. So I'm going to press it down in there, get the air out, flatten this up, and that's looking pretty good there. There we go. And that's number 3. One more to go. final panel. Let's get there. So all those pins are already in. So now it's a matter of setting these aside to dry and actually adhere to the door panel, and pretty much going to see you guys tomorrow when this is all done. But don't worry, it won't be a two-parter. I'll do it all in one part. All right, so we'll catch up tomorrow. So good morning, everyone. And today you could see the next day all the silicone has pretty much dried. Everything's dried to the touch, and it has pretty much fully cured. And you can see with silicone, it creates a water-resistant, weather-resistant seal rather. And not just that, but this is easy to remove. If ever I need to remove it in the future, I could do so easily without damaging these pins. Just simply take a razor blade or an X-Acto and just try to cut the silicone, make a lip, and you could pretty much peel the whole thing off. So this is perfect, and this is exactly what I was expecting from this. And you could see the panels look absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to get these on. Let's get to it. All right, so starting with the left rear door. I already did the two others off camera and they look really good. You guys will see that soon. So the first thing I want to do is plug this in. And this is the heating fan, or the fan that's inside the door, which of course defrosts the glass in the back. And then we're going to lift this up to about where it belongs. And we're going to pop in this door, the door lock pin, which is right here. So we're going to try to put this through this slot right here and try to get it as proper as possible, but we could adjust it a little bit as we put the door on. So let's start with that. So there's no real signs to this. I just like to kind of get the door as close to the glass as possible and try to fish it through. There's a clip there you want to be careful with. Once you get it in at one point, the rest will just go right along with it. And there we go, that's on. So now it's a matter of pressing the rest of it in series like this, and that's officially on. Go around the perimeter of the door panel, bring your wires in, and try to find all the clips. So there's one over here, it's in. There's one on the bottom here, try to get that in as well. There's one here on the side that I think is already in. So once that's done, you can see the door panel's already pretty nicely installed. These are the T25, nice galvanized screws. I always love the SAAB hardware like this. I find it really nice. Start threading those only a little bit, maybe 2-3 threads, just to get them in. And this here, I like to, since it's like at an angle and your tool won't really be straight here, it doesn't really line up with the hole, I like to go in with the fingers and just try to thread it in a little bit by hand without dropping it. And as soon as you thread in a couple and it's smooth, you'll see that when you put your tool and you, even at an angle, it will thread in well. You just got to be careful with the strip that torques end of the screw. Next is our door handle. This is pretty simple as well. As you can see, it's got a tab, and you want to kind of slip the tab in before you put, what's it called? The whole rest of the door handle in. So first thing I'm going to do is just make sure the coast is clear for this to slip in, and it is. The screw holes are visible, because there is insulating foam inside the door panel, and that just slides in very easily. So you just want to be careful when you do that, especially around here where the material is very thin, and you just want to kind of wiggle it until it kind of pops in like that. And it's going to go in really smoothly as long as you don't force it. And this, you might need to align the actual handle itself, so try to kind of pull it up and wiggle it around. It is made of a soft rubber, so as soon as you look down the hole and you see it lines up, go ahead and start threading. As long as the thread's in smooth, you're good. These are. So let's do that. This one twists a little bit, and it's going to kind of naturally fall into place a little bit, but you got to help it up. Once those are in, the last screw we're going to put in is up here by the door handle, and just get that in. And now that everything's kind of in, you can test your door lock operation, which mine is working, so there's no worries about that. Once everything's kind of buttoned up, you'll see it'll work better. The next step is to start tightening everything. Now that's what I like to start doing here, is tightening everything, because everything else pretty much lines up. The light is going to go in, that lines up, so I like to start tightening everything down. Door handle screws right here, the grab handle, not too crazy tight. I'm using, as you can see, a very small socket driver. Nothing too crazy tight. These are Torx, so they're pretty easy to strip if you're not careful, and if you over tighten them, you could actually damage the material. So don't go too crazy, just tight enough that the door handle's nice and solid. That's all you really need. These over here as well, same kind of deal. Tighten them about the same, even if maybe a little bit less. then the door handle, the grab handle, just like that. They don't need to be on super duper tight, just to keep everything kind of in place. So we know we tightened those already. There we go, and that's on there, really nice. And then this one here, same kind of deal, not too tight, just tight enough. That only holds in that little bracket for the door light. Let's go ahead and do that. Just make sure your socket's as straight as possible and just give it a little crank, and that's on there. So all those are tightened up, this one included. You can always go around and double check your work. Actually, this one's not tightened. Good thing we double checked. This one is next, so let's go ahead and give that a little crank. This one screws into kind of the door, but it is going onto soft material, so not too tight when you tighten that. So everything's on there. Door panel's hooked up. You can see the way it works. You slide the handle in, and then these hooks hook up and grab onto these two holes over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Right, so let's go ahead and install this trim piece. Once again, more up close, these are the tabs that go right into here. So that's important to be careful with. These tabs are pretty strong, they're pretty tough, so it's not really a worry about breaking them. And then over here, this hole, when you do tighten the screw, you just want to be careful not to tighten too much. If you crack this plastic, kind of acts like your washer. So let's go ahead and slide this in. I put it in the wrong section. All right, so hold the door handle open and kind of just wiggle it until it slides right into place. You could fiddle around with the door handle, but I just usually keep it open, and boom, just like that, it's in, and it's slid in really nice. So I'm gonna just adjust it, make sure that it's straight, and that looks really good. Once that's done, we could tighten this little screw here. So it goes in this orientation like so, and that's gonna help press the whole trim in pretty easily. And you might see this kind of move a bit. That's because it's kind of sitting properly. Once the screw has been tightened, it's going to be sitting properly, and as you can see, it is. We're going to tighten this screw down all the way. Now you want to make sure before you install this panel that that screw behind there, that hidden screw, is all the way tightened. I installed the right one and forgot to tighten it, so I had to open it all the back up again to do. So that's done, that's installed nice and solid, and this is just a regular screw, so don't go too crazy on tightening it. And it's also a T20. Then we're going to install our window switch and clip it in. So that goes in like this. So go ahead and grab your connector, line it up, and then you want to clip this guy in as well. Just like so. And once that's in, that's looking really good. Everything works perfectly. So as you can see, it's taken shape. Now you just got to put the light in. Go ahead and grab your light in the right orientation. Plug the wires in. Black goes over here, and the clear one goes over here, or the white wire. Plug those in pretty nice, and once that's done, try to tuck the wires into the door. There's a sheathing right here. SAAB kind of thought of everything, didn't they? And just try to slide this right behind this door pocket here, and as you can see, this one has gone in very easily. Go in very carefully. I'm going to make sure this is actually aligned straight, and it is. Hold the light in, it's going to kind of want to pop out. This you really don't want to tighten too much because it is plastic and built in with the light, so you do not want to go too crazy, just enough that it's in solid. These are simple enough. They clip right onto the screws like so, and they'll make a nice little snap like that. This one I don't think I got on properly. Let me try to reinstall that one. There we go, that's a lot better. And then these go on next. So this is the top one. It has a groove right here. You just line it up with the groove that's on the actual door grab handle like that, and same with this one's got a groove on it. Once again, line it up. You can only put it in one way. Press that in, and that is an installed 9000 door panel in the rear. Very, very easy, job done. Lock works. I mean, everything is looking very good here. So yeah, that's one of them. Let's get on to the driver's door, and then we'll be done with this. And we're down to the final door panel, the driver's side. Let's get this one done. So over here, it's actually kind of easier to do on the front doors and the rear doors. There's a bit less stuff, but it's still a pretty simple process. So let's go ahead and do that. So like the last one, we're going to start by trying to thread in this door lock here, which is right here, the door pin to unlock and lock the doors manually. On the driver's side door and the passenger side door, it's a little bit easier, so we're going to show you how to do that as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And I also installed these two little clips here with there was already some electrical tape here, and this part here of the door likes to kind of pop up, so I'm gonna hopefully try to keep it down with this clip, but we'll see how that goes. So let's start doing this. So like the rear, grab it up and fish this through. This is actually easier on the front doors, significantly easier. There we go, that's already done. Make sure all your wires are poking through where they need to. You have the mirror controls and the door light, which is right here, so that's good. And that's already lined up very easily. And already you can see there, it's actually holding down a lot better with that additional clip. So that makes me really happy. This used to pop up and kind of be like here. So that was not really pretty. So now it's actually looking good. Next up, make sure all your wires are out of the way, or in the right position. And they are. And now we're gonna start fastening it. So first thing is the clips. So go around the perimeter. When you find a clip, try to find the hole it goes into in the door, knock it in. That's in. And then there's one over here, I believe, needs to be drived in. Yeah, here it is. There we go. Even if you're missing clips on your door panel, I believe this clip is actually broken. I didn't really feel for it well. Yeah, it is actually broken. Even if you're missing a clip, these screws will actually hold the door in pretty well, so I'm not too worried about that. There we go. That's in. That one I don't think is in, but sometimes you gotta play around with these things until they kind of work. So let's keep trying. There we go. Now it's in. All right, so now once that's done, those things just happen on cars. If you guys work on cars, you know that. So now next thing is to get this door handle in. A little bit different in the rear, but we're gonna go ahead and try it out like this, I think. Make sure those holes are clear and ready for the handle to come through. Just kind of wiggle that in carefully. I don't want to damage the material. Just kind of try to wiggle that in. There we go, and that's in. Make sure the material stays tucked really nicely, and then get the top part in very carefully. As you can see here, this section was actually repaired, so I don't want to break that. And there you go. Once that's done, wiggle the rest on, and it's all on. Long T25 extension here. Grab the screws. This one looks just about lined up. Thread that on. There we go. That's in now. So these are all tightened up. Let's get this one on. It's got a little washer on it, because I see the material here is broken. So we're going to use that washer to make sure it sits really nice on there. There we go. It's in. Then we go over here and do the same thing. You can go right with the tool, and you could go ahead and thread that as well. So once those are all fastened, we're going to go ahead and fully fasten them and tighten them. Once again, not too tight, just tight enough. And then let's tighten this one up. Once again, not too tight. It only holds this bracket and it doesn't have to be super tight. And this one here, we're going to finish that up. Tighten up all the rest of the screws. There we go. That door handle is on really nice. So everything's on. This I believe I tightened too. And this one as well, so that's good. Here's our trim once again. Those hooks we were talking about, the holes here. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is going to be simple like that. Once that's in, everything else kind of falls into place. This one actually has a broken tab. I just noticed maybe a previous time this door was removed, this door panel. But we're going to work with it anyway, see how it is. If it's too loose, we'll figure something out. There we go. Honestly, that looks good to me, and that should be plenty firm enough. So let's go ahead and screw this in with the washer. T20 for this little screw here, and just go in by hand and give it a little crank with the tool. Not too tight, like I said. There we go. Oh, our good old mirror switch. Let's go ahead and plug it in first. That's going to be our step one. Slide that in. Slide this in. And that's done. That's in. That goes here for the left or right mirror option. There we go. And then here, this, as you can see, has a section to align it with the pin, and that's easy enough. And if you don't have that little aligning thing, which they all do anyways, you can see right here, it's got the, you want these arrows to be facing you, because when you're sitting in the seat, this will be right in your line of vision. And now the finishing touches. Let's get the light on first. Now the light, the screws over here. Let's not lose that. Let's go ahead and plug this in. White wire here. And then slide this in. T10 once again. And just make sure not to damage anything. This one's already a bit cracked. This can just be hand tight. I always go with the tool a touch more, just to make sure it doesn't ever back out, but this won't really back out. But I like to always go with the tool, just like maybe an 1/8 turn at most. That's it. That's it. So once we know all the screws are properly fastened, 1, 2, that's satisfying snap. And then the final pieces. Once again, line up the pins like this and like this. And there we go. That's the driver's side done. All right, and we're officially done. And check it out, guys. Look how good this looks. And finally, this has been so long in the making, literally so long. And I had these door panel, these door cards removed like 2.5 years ago. And finally now they're on the car, and the interior looks finally complete. I mean, check this out, guys. Everything feels really good, and the interior is finally looking really complete, along with these vent knobs we did install as well. In the previous video, you could see the whole thing's looking really complete and really fresh. And this 9000 is looking better and better the more we do little things to it. Alright guys, well thanks so much for tuning in, and thanks so much for watching. And if you guys like this video or have any suggestions, feel free to say something in the comments or give it a like and subscribe. And I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take care. Goodbye.